I might have dated a girl in high school just to hit on her mother. I mean, you never knew.
Okay, so it's just bodybuilding, episode 52. Correct?
Did you say 52 or 152?
152? Yeah, 152.
152.
Okay.
That's what he meant. Listen to what he means.
Okay, we'll do it. I'll read you that. Hey, everybody. It's just bodybuilding, episode 152. The morally flexible Dusty Hanshaw and the oatmeal eating Scott McNally. Was that oatmeal you were having, buddy?
Rice and turkey. Oh, actually, ground turkey.
Oh, rice and turkey.
Yes.
Okay, it looked like a bowl of oats for a second there. And, of course, me, turkey. Ron Partlow. I got a new background. I hung on my guitars. I'm really proud of it. You guys want to have a look?
I like that. I like that.
And the bike.
Hold on. Let's get like the full. I'm going to get the full thing. Yeah, let me get rid of me.
I gotta show the whole wall.
Let's get rid of Dusty for a minute here.
So this is my office.
There we go.
I got my bike up on the wall, and I had all my guitars hung professionally.
Nice.
Looks pretty cool. I just got to paint the wood, but I don't know. I'm not in a hurry.
Yes. I gotta just.
So now I don't have. So it was a big space saver thing because I used to have the bike was in the corner and then all my guitars were in their cases. So you got to stack all these fucking guitar cases somewhere. You know what I mean? So now the cases are just in the storage, the underground storage that we have at the condo here. And they're all up on the wall. So life is good. I feel like I got like, a couple hundred extra square feet to work with.
It's key.
Anyone who lives in a condo, anyone who lives in that condo lifestyle knows that you don't want to be like collecting stuff,
Right.
If you're going to collect it, you got to have a plan for where you're going to fucking put that shit.
I don't believe in collecting stuff in general. I was at the airport coming back. The shit that people purchase at an airport to bring the garbage that says where they're coming from. Like, oh, I got this. I'm like, where the fuck are you going to put that in your house, lady? Put that shit back. No.
Yeah.
It's like way overpriced at the airport, too. A lot of money.
Of course.
We got a bunch of YouTube questions. We got a bunch of catching up to do. We just had the Vancouver Pro, this weekend. So I got a list of stuff. What do we want to do? Do we just want to talk about our weekends for a second?
Well, why not?
What did you do, Scott? What did you do?
I went on a date with the wife for her birthday. Happy birthday to Victoria.
Glad
actually, we are recording.
There was a wife.
Yeah, with my wife, actually, this time. And it was a lot of fun. We went to this mansion where you can take tours and stuff, an old historic place. But on the way back, we stopped at a friend of mine's restaurant, which is Nikola's Barbecue on Telegraph near 10 Mile Road. That's north of 8 Mile for those of you not in Detroit.
I was just going to say, yeah. Is that 2 miles from 8 Mile?
Yes.
That's too close for comfort.
It's pretty close. Great barbecue. But I wanted to tell you guys about him because I don't think I ever told you. Literally, this was my first ever sponsor. Nikola's Barbecue. No. They sponsored me. They were like, hey, we want to help you out. I was competing and stuff. And they're like, what can we do for you? I was like, well, I could use help with like my gym membership. So they paid for my year gym membership. And they're like, here, we'll get some tank tops made up for you. And you can just like wear those when you're working out. You don't have to wear them all the time. But, just to help promote the restaurant. And I was like, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So they were literally my first sponsor. Nikola's Barbecue.
That's cool, man.
That's a legit sponsor. I would take that now.
What's the place like? Like, what's the place like when you walk in? What's it like?
It's a nice restaurant. I guess they really like laid into the carry out. They have like, it's a restaurant that has like its own little door and its own little area for carry out now. And that was just like hopping all through the pandemic. But they have this barbecue sauce it's got a sweet taste to it, but then it also has like that little bit of heat, just a little bit of heat that makes it good. Really good ribs. Really good fried chicken, like not a lot of really good bodybuilding food. You know what I mean? It's all like really just good, fun barbecue food. Great burgers.
I like some good fried chicken. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and their dad opened it originally, and he ran the place for years and years. In fact, when I'd go and visit, his dad passed away recently, so rest in peace to him. But he was still there in the kitchen, like as an old guy, like marinating the chicken every morning. He just wanted to still be a part of the place. And the two sons, Velko and Tom, took it over. And Velko is into bodybuilding. He does Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's really into that now. And so he took an interest in helping to support me in my bodybuilding, which was, freaking awesome. And outside the box, right? Because you don't think of like, hey, I need to get a sponsor. Like everybody wants sponsors, but like you don't think like Nikola's Barbecue is going to be your sponsor. And that was like back in 2009 or something.
Right.
That's cool. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of sponsors.
Yes.
We have to let people know that we're very happy to announce that Mutant is officially coming on board to support the podcast.
Hell yeah.
And you're gonna be seeing some cool stuff. We got lots of plans. I don't want to rattle on too much about what I've talked with them about, doing just, but and even like giveaways and shit. Like we can figure stuff out to do like really cool stuff.
That'd be cool.
So, so obviously, Dusty and I have a great relationship with Mutant and all that, but we never felt like we wanted to like make them feel obligated to be involved with the podcast, and we wanted the podcast to really grow organically and do its own thing. And I mean, Dusty and I also had concerns that, the podcast might grow into something that they didn't want to sponsor.
Yeah.
Right. and we didn't want them to feel, hookers and blow, right? There's hookers and blow reviews all the time, traveling to faraway cities and testing out their hookers and blow. And and we just thought like, we don't want them to have that difficult conversation with us. Like, hey guys, like we just kind of won't really want you guys wearing our t-shirts at all on the show. Like,
don't mention us. Don't mention us.
Yeah, don't mention us. Like you could just go ahead and wear your West Coast hat all the time, Ron. That's cool. Don't mind us.
Exactly.
So, we foresaw that might be a direction the show goes. We just didn't know. Hey. Yeah. And, as it seems, the show's gone in a direction where they're like, hey, like, we think this is super cool and we just want to support you guys more. And, we want you guys to know that we're behind what you're doing and we like seeing you guys, doing this other stuff. So Mutant's going to be involved with the show, which is really cool. They don't want to be invasive. We're not going to be reading ads or anything like that. Like they don't have any real demands of us. They just want to be present, and we're really happy about that. And that also means that you're going to be, kind of sponsored by Mutant a little bit off this podcast. So you're going to be working with them as well, because you're going to be engaging. Scott's going to be engaging with Mutant, to get like, if we put a graphic up at all, or any sort of stuff production wise with the show. So,
which I'm pumped and honored for that. By the way, I've always seen Mutant as being like a really cool hardcore company, and a highly respected company in the industry. So I feel like I'm very honored to have them, show interest in being a part of this.
And they have some really cool announcements coming up. Me and Dusty already know one of the secrets.
I dump guys. We'll learn together.
Really going to be fun. Yeah, there's a secret that we have that the Mutant is going to have some fun shit coming out. So we're looking forward to that. And it's just, podcast moving forward. Like we said, we didn't want to, like we've already had offers for people that want to kind of get involved. And we're like, we're okay. Yeah. So it's good to have this moving forward. And while we're on the topic of Mutant, my show, Mutant on a Mission, the newest episode from Gold's Gym Venice is out now. You can watch it on the Mutant YouTube channel.
I'll put a link to that in the description.
Yeah, and Dusty is in the episode with me. So it's Dusty's first time on my show, Mutant on a Mission. And you know what? Having Dusty on the show, I didn't feel like it was my show that episode. I felt like it was our show.
That's cool.
So it was really cool. Dusty had just as many stories as I did, and it was just me and Dusty having a leg workout and talking about Gold's Gym and, our memories of going there when we first went there and all that stuff. You know, he used to train there a bunch with Chris, right? So
Yep.
you know, Cormier. So, you know, Dusty went to Gold's a fucking 100 times to train with Cormier. And I've been there a bunch of times as like a Canadian kid going down to like, you know, dream.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down and dream for 4 days, you know? So I've been down there a bunch of times and so it was really cool. So I really enjoyed that episode. You know, obviously like there's certain episodes, like anyone who films anything and makes any sort of like content, you know, there's stuff where you film it and you think, oh, that was awesome. And then you watch the episode and you're like, oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where you shoot it and you're like, I don't know if that was any good. And then you watch the edit and you're like, fuck, that turned out good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the Golds episode with Dusty, I was like, I wanted it to be good, you know, because it's our first time training together. And I was like, oh, I really hope it turns out. And they did a great job with it. And I was really happy with that episode. It was a fun episode to watch. So, yeah, I just want to make sure everyone knows about it. The support for the show this season has been awesome.
That's cool.
And, yeah, I really only have, I think, one more episode to film for this season because we have one in the can already that we haven't released. So, yeah, it's cool. So everyone that likes that show, thank you for supporting Mutant on a Mission. I really appreciate it. So now, what about Dusty's weekend?
My weekend was a week. So went
That's
to
exactly
the
what I was
Republic
waiting for you to say.
and just did nothing. It was phenomenal. The only thing that I did, we only yes, we only left the resort once because I saw that I could ride horses in the water.
No
but
kidding.
Not like romantic in the water. I mean, like in the water, like up to their shoulders, where you're not even like on a saddle. You're just laying down on them and holding on for dear life.
Holy
so
shit.
That was pretty sick. Yeah, it was super fun. Did that, and then other than that, it was hang out there. And the biggest takeaway from the weekend, besides relaxing, was Americans, Canadians, we're fucking lazy, whiny pieces of shit.
That was the take home, huh?
Yes, because the people working there. So you go in, and obviously you're staying at a high class resort, and you're expecting good service. Best service I've had anywhere. Like that's the end of the sentence. And every single person there was like over the top, but genuine. It was weird. You know, sometimes if people are too complimentary, you're like, all right, bro, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Like they were genuinely happy to be working there. I got to know the staff. They work 15-hour days, 26 days a month. Some of them live hours away, so they'll come stay there for 24 days a month. They'll come stay there for either 12 days straight and live in an apartment there. One guy we met stays for 24 days straight and goes back for 6. And the average pay, not there, but of the country is $770 a month. They don't get paid shit to be there. They survive off of, I mean, the money is good. I mean, apparently it's a great job. If you're traveling 3 hours, you want that gig. As soon as I realized that, the tips went up substantially because I was like, oh, like you give somebody a $5 bill there, American, they're like, oh shit, you know. So I actually didn't bring as much cash as I ended up spending, so I went down and paid 20% to get more cash, just so I could like hand it out because I was just blown away by the service. I mean, it was literally. I think if they were to come here and see what we whine about for $15 an hour and I'm so overworked, I think they would laugh at us because they work. I mean, I'm telling you, my butler starts in the morning, gets there at 7. Everyone has a butler that's there, and they just handle anything you need. You shoot them a text, you got WhatsApp, and you just, what do you need? And he leaves at 11:30 every night. Drives home, comes back to do it again, you know. And he has a family, so he was going about an hour and a half home every night and then coming back in the morning. And, I mean, I'm telling you, they were amazing. So a lot of people go to different resorts and say, oh, it wasn't all that great. I couldn't have possibly asked them to do anything more. So very, very nice. And I don't think it was that. I mean, I won't use the word not that expensive. It was worth what it cost. You know, we didn't upgrade when I got there to have like the best of everything. And I mean, they were like, "Oh, we can do this upgrade." And I'm like, "Here we go." The beginning of them asking for more money.
Yeah.
It was like $800. I was like, and then when they told me what I got, I'm like, do it. Absolutely worth every penny. And yeah, like I said, and then at the end, you go to check out and they're like, all right, see ya. Like there wasn't even like an additional ask for gratuity. Like they just kind of gave you the wave. And I was like, all right, I'm sure glad I didn't think they were like dispersing gratuity at the end of this. Because there wasn't even like a point to add it. So if you ever do something like that, definitely bring cash, American cash they love, and you're set. So it was great. And I was shocked that by the end of the time, I wasn't bored out of my mind and ready to come home. But I was excited to be back and get to the gym. At the same time, this morning, like going to the gym was like, I didn't do anything, by the way. A lot of people ask that. Like, did you train? Not at all. Didn't even get on a treadmill. Didn't do anything. Just took a full 7 days of nothingness. I figured for every hour I'd be at the gym, I would just smoke a cigar or two extra, and that should balance it out pretty solid.
Were you counting your steps?
Yeah, exactly. I was very concerned. The only thing I counted, I was trying to figure out, I was curious about this, and maybe someone will know the answer. I didn't Google it, but I wonder if their alcohol, like their real alcohol, like tequila, is possibly weaker there. I don't drink very often. And we were doing Don Julio double shots, and I did 6 one night, like 3 doubles. And I was expecting to like stand up and be, I'm like, all right, either I'm invincible to tequila or this is lighter. I don't know which it was. And I watched them open the bottle one night because I was wondering if they watered it down. But then the only other thing I thought was the amount of food I ate in that day might have absorbed it.
You're also forgetting that according to your doctors, your drug tolerance is extremely high right now.
Yeah.
So
valid point. Yes.
You're probably still riding. You're probably still riding on how worn out you are from those. Drink a whole bottle.
I was wondering if that was a proud moment for my mom. Is your son an addict? Because he is tearing through these drugs like they're nothing.
My son tore through so many drugs, they thought he was an addict. I'm so proud of him.
She tells all of her friends.
They thought he was an addict. He tore through so many drugs. Oh, yeah.
Unreal.
Excellent.
So how was the show, Ron?
Excellent. So my weekend. My weekend was hectic. It was the Van Pro-Am. And, that obviously we're super happy to have the show happening again because it's so great for the local scene and the gym. And, obviously I coach people, so it's great for business and it's just a great weekend. It's like the big event of the year, like the Van Pro-Am comes to town and, Iain Valliant comes to the gym and, all the kids are excited to get pictures with, him and, Dana Baker shows up and everyone knows Dana Baker. So there's people taking pictures, it's just exciting, it's one of those things. Mm-hmm. The guys that are trying to turn pro show up and the pros show up. And, it was just a real exciting weekend. I had 5 clients. I had 3 amateurs on Saturday. They all did really well. Cool. I came home very happy and proud of them. And everyone came home with a medal. That was great. I had 3 clients and there were 4 medals. So it was good.
There we go.
And then, and very happy with them. They're just all great people. And they, it was good. It was a good weekend. And then on Sunday was the pros and I had 2 pros and, classic physique guys. And they both did great. And the classic physique was the class of the weekend. The pro classic men was the class that was like really tough, and the deepest class, I think there was 13 or 14 of them. So it was like a good class. And that branch guy from China that got top 5 at the Olympia in 2019 showed up. So everyone knew he was coming. So like a top 5 Olympian showing up really made the classic division exciting for all the guys that were doing it. Cause there was a bunch of Canadian classic guys in it. So they were all excited to go against him. And, I had 2 clients in the show, Billy and Jaws, and I was really happy. Jaws wound up placing second, wow. And and having a fucking real pose down with Branch, the guy who won the show, and Adam, the guy who got third, who was just unbelievably peeled. But I don't know if Scott wants to throw photos of these guys out later.
I was thinking that. Yeah, I'll find something. Yeah. I'll add it in post-production.
Yeah, the classic was great, and the top 3 pose down was amazing, and they were all awesome, and it was just real exciting. And you know, so I had a successful weekend, and you know how it is when you got 5 clients in one weekend, and 2 of them are pros.
Yeah.
So there's this added pressure, and then all of a sudden you're done with all of them. It's that. So I woke up this morning with that, like, you know, the day after you write your final exams.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up the day after final exams and you're like, I don't even have to go to class today. You know, I eventually have to go back to class because I got some more tests in a few months. But today I don't have to go to class. I don't have to check my phone till like fucking, you know, the next closest guy I got is 3 weeks out. So he can wait till 2 p.m. to hear from me.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need that one morning where you just don't look at your phone. You just go straight to coffee and, you know,
there you go.
Just have a little. So that's how it is when you coach people, you know, at those shows. Those little moments the day after you want to just go for breakfast with your buddies or something and not look at your phone, you know? So
yeah, for sure.
So that's my weekend.
How was the Open?
Oh, so the Open. So Iain Valliant's there. Mm-hmm. So everyone's pretty much assuming Iain's going to win, right? I mean, I think there was only 6 guys in the Open. It was a small show. So everyone's like, oh, well, you know, Iain's just going to come and punch his ticket for the O. And Antoine shows up. And Antoine looks fucking awesome.
Nice.
Like the best he's ever looked ever. Just crazy, ripped, shredded hamstrings and glutes, enormous legs. He's like 265 pounds. And then comes out and does one of the funnest posing routines I have ever fucking seen.
No kidding. What was so great about it?
He just comes out and superheroes it.
Okay.
He just comes out and he's got sound effects and motion effects. So he'll like go down and then you hear like something flying through the air.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand up and catches an imaginary sword. and then you hear the sword go ching as he slices the head off the dragon or whatever he's battling in his routine, right?
That's fun. That's cool.
And the crowd just pops.
Yeah.
Boom! The crowd they lose their shit when he catches the sword and you hear the sword go shing. And then the metal music starts because it's like fantasy music, right?
Yeah.
And then the fucking sword comes out and now the metal starts. And then he stands up and he just goes into all these poses. Like Antoine's such a great poser because, you know, how he's like an anime guy.
Yeah.
He does like anime poses. Like it's hard to describe, but you imagine how anime characters are drawn.
Yeah.
They're not conventional bodybuilding poses. Huh. He puts his body in like those cartoon positions and he'll hold it for a second and then he'll pop into a front double.
Cool. That's fun. Right.
And then he'll go into like another pose, like, you know, something with his hands, like in like, you know, like really artsy, but it's not graceful, like arty art.
Like
it's
pretentious.
Superhero art.
Yeah.
Yes. It's superhero art. All of the stuff he's doing that's artistic is right out of a comic book. Huh. Like he's up on his toes with his like hands above him, you know, and then he'll drop down into his side chest, you know, and I don't know. I hadn't seen, like I've seen some really great posing routines, obviously, you know, we saw some great ones at the Arnold and the awesome music everybody had. And, but I just, you know, it was just a real highlight of the weekend for me, Antoine's posing routine. It was like the funnest moment of the show. And I also was really, because I love seeing other people enjoy bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
because I've loved it my whole life. So the last thing I want is for like my friends or my clients' families or people from my gym coming and going, oh yeah, the show is all right.
And not getting it really.
No, I want them to fucking love the show, even though it's not our show. It doesn't like it's the Van Pro. I want the show to be huge, you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
seeing the crowd, like the entire crowd was losing their mind when Antoine was posing. Like
That's awesome.
Like the entire crowd, everybody was like, holy fuck. Like it was really great. And I just want to make sure, like, I don't know if Antoine will ever hear this, but you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure that I mention that. I had that in my notes. Talk about Antoine's routine.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And afterwards, it generated a conversation that I had two different groups of people. So I walk outside after the show, and right away, I was a group of my friends, and they go, hey, come here. And I walk over and they go, should they start scoring posing routines?
Huh.
Right.
And I go, I know exactly what this is about. Right?
Right.
So anyways, back to the show. Antoine comes out, looks amazing. And it's him and Iain 1 and 2.
Huh.
Obviously.
Right.
And some of the other guys were surprisingly good. I met a couple of your friends, Dusty. I met Seth, who wound up in 5th. I think he said he was from Utah. Is he from Utah? Anyways, I can't remember.
No, the guy from Utah got 3rd.
Jonas.
Jonas.
Jonas?
He got 3rd. He's with Chris.
Oh, I know Jonas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got 3rd there.
He got 3rd, I think.
Hell
Did he
yeah.
get
I mean, he's a
That's
pretty
why.
new pro, too.
He was top 5. I think he might have been 4th.
Okay.
But yeah.
I just know because the first call out, he was in the top 3. I never even saw the scores.
Hey guys, I have to break in with a quick correction. Jonas actually got 4th place, which is still a fantastic showing, especially for a new pro, and probably his best look to date. You were on vacation.
So Jonas was the guy that you know, but then Seth and his wife, I met them, and they watched the show, and they also know you as well. So, but they were great to meet. But anyways, the top 5 was good. Like there was some guys that showed up that I didn't know, and I was like, oh, these guys are like they're fucking big. Like it was good. And but anyways, Iain and Antoine were the top 2, and
Right.
And there
You're
was
right.
like
He got
Iain.
5th.
Yeah, and Iain was just so big. So Antoine was a little bit sharper from the hams and glutes, just a little bit sharper. And there were things that Antoine won on. Like there were certain things that Antoine had that were arguable to win. And I had a few people tell me that they actually had Antoine winning. But the vast majority did say to me, because I was waiting I wanted to hear what people had to say. So I wouldn't say what I thought. And I had most people come up and they're like, man, Antoine really was fucking awesome, but Iain's just too big.
Right.
So that was kind of the consensus, is that Iain still had enough size that he's the winner. And it was just thickness through the upper body. So Iain Valliant now has, well, he had it before. It's not like he just has it now, but it's just that I haven't seen him in person for a while, you know? And I was reminded at this show that Iain Valliant has a quality that very few big pros ever really get. And it's one of the things that makes you a true mass monster. But he has the Jay Cutler effect, and that is incredible shoulder width on stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He is so wide and thick, and it's what Jay had, and it's why a lot of people who weren't fans of Jay as a pro, they're the people that never saw him in person. Because when you saw Jay in person, you were like, oh, there's something else. Like there's more to this body than everyone else. Like he's
interesting.
You know, it's that giant width, like Jay having to turn sideways to go through doors all the time and stuff. Iain's there now. Like the other guys just aren't as wide as him, man. It's noticeable. And it makes a big difference. Like when he's just walking around, you're like, Jesus. You know? So that's what I observed.
That's cool, man. That sounds like a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. You know, I thought Iain told me he was 265. he looked 285. Like, I couldn't believe he was the same weight as Antoine, because like him and Antoine were about the same size, but Iain looked like he had like, 10, 20 pounds of thickness. So, yeah.
So how do you foresee that physique at the Olympia?
Well,
impossible question, obviously, but
I think that in the current crop of guys, which is just staggeringly good.
Yeah.
Like when you think of the top 5 last year. Okay. So if you're going to crack the top 5, you have to eliminate one of those guys.
Yeah.
Right. So I still think that Iain to me is a top 10 guy in the world at all times currently,
of course.
Yeah. But top 5, that will be the challenge for him.
Right.
Like for him to move into the top 5 at the Olympia, one of those guys got to go. Which means he's got to beat
They're
Hunter.
they're gonna have to go lightly with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not going to go lightly, right? So like he's got to beat Nick, or he's got to beat Hunter, or he's got to beat Ramy, or he's got to beat Brandon, or he's got to beat who else was top 5 last year? I'm drunk. So I mean, those are all pretty.
Shit, what's his name? Iran. Chris.
Hadi. Yeah,
not Chris. Hani's guy. Yeah, Hadi.
Yeah.
Hadi.
So so you got to beat one of those guys, right? So that's where the challenge lies for Iain. Yeah, no, it's no big deal, right?
Yeah,
but that's just me. That's just what the fuck do I know, right?
But that really says like where we're at with bodybuilding. Like those are all really good guys. Bodybuilding's in a really good place right now.
Yeah, where did Iain place?
I saw a video.
He was like 7th or something, wasn't he?
I think 7th, but we'll get yelled at when I guess that.
Yeah.
Yes,
we'll find out when we put this out in the comments.
Just leave it.
Yeah,
we're not checking.
You don't fucking know. These guys don't even fucking know where you're.
What's wild though? So I saw a video. Actually, I was on vacation. I saw a video of Ronnie the year before he won the Olympia, when he got like 8th, I think, at the Olympia. It might have been. He was already a cartoon.
Yeah, I know. People forget how good he was in 8th.
Like
it was like he was ignored.
Like so nuts. Yeah, it's like I don't know how he was an 8th then, to be honest. So what I'm pointing out is, but then the jump he made was so ridiculous. I feel like now you don't have anybody in that top 10 that's like missing something as simple as needing a better coach. Because that's really what happened. He got with Chad, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's like missing blatantly right now and still in the top 10. They're all slaying. So I don't think in the near future you're going to see a guy jump from 8th to 1st or even 8th to 2nd in a year. Because, again, everyone else has that full year to improve as well. It's not like the 7 guys between them and 1st, well, 6 since Dorian was gone, like regressed. They all got better. He just, became the best of all time.
I also got to give Iain some credit and all the other people that visited my gym. It was such a positive weekend for all the visitors, all the competitors and everyone who came in. They were just fucking fantastic. But I got to give Iain and his whole crew a little, just thank you, because, Iain's in the position to win the show and, punch his ticket to the O, and he's still taking every single picture with every single person. They would train and he'd go upstairs and pose in the posing room and hang out, and people would kind of go up there and bug him for photos. And he's, taking photos on the stairs and photos by the bathroom and photos, like people, and he would hang out. Like he wasn't rushing to get out of there, like they were taking their time, like no rush, just hanging out at the juice bar, taking pictures and shit. So you just, the members really appreciated that. And it's just, it's a hard act to follow for some people. Some people can't, some guys can't keep it. They just can't keep it together like that during the show weekend. It's, you know what I mean? They don't see the big picture, or they see it and they're like, I just can't handle this myself, which is totally fine. You don't have to talk to people. I mean, not everyone's built for that, but Iain gets it, or he, it comes naturally. One of the two. He gets it and makes himself do it, or it comes naturally.
I feel like I'd be more of a, like you, I think are more on like an even level with him as far as the bodybuilding world goes versus me. I feel like I'm more of a fan. And when I met Iain, I think it was the 18 Olympia, I ran into him and Matt and a whole crew. Michaela was there. They were all training at one of the gyms, and this was like a few days out, and he was competing. And he, same way, all the way back then, you know, before like everybody knew him the way they do now, but he was the exact same way. Like he stopped, he talked with me. We had just done an interview. So like, he was really cool though, you know, exact same person then. So that like what you're telling me now, that's the way he was, you know, 5 years ago too, with fans.
Also, they did a fun thing where they brought all the men's open guys into the crowd for the pose down.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
And I was expecting them to, because, you know, I've been to a lot of shows, but you know, you forget that there's a lot of people that do not expect that to happen. Right. So they say, okay, guys, let's take the pose down, you know, a little closer to the crowd. And they start bringing them off the stage, and the crowd's just like, and Antoine and Iain just got swarmed. Like, I felt bad for the rest of the class because, like, you know, they weren't big name guys, right? So they're posing and taking pictures, but Antoine and Iain, like, people are crawling over seats and fucking piling over each other to try to get over to, you know, people are screaming. They're like, Iain, come over here, please. Yeah. Like, you know, like they're trying to wave him over, and they were probably in the crowd for like fucking, I don't know, seemed like 10 minutes.
That's great.
I'm sure it was less than that, but yeah, the crowd was just going crazy trying to take pictures, you know, with
That's
those
awesome.
two guys. I mean, especially Iain, because of the podcast, obviously being on Bro Chat and all that, you know, he's really got a lot of fan connections. So it was just good, you know, but it also made me like think, the power of the podcast, you know, here's some podcast at work right here. You know, how many of these people are crawling over seats because Iain was top 10 at the Olympia last year? And how many of these people are crawling over seats because he talks about butt sex on Bro Chat?
Hey,
very good point.
It's, I mean, that's what really brings
the modern
is
world.
butt sex. You know? Thanks, Jim. Glad you like cocaine and hookers also.
Yeah. And we're sponsored by Mutant. Just
quick reminder on that note. That's sick.
So anyways, that's my, I had a good topic to talk about before we get into the YouTube questions. I thought I'd bring it up.
Yes.
Is there anything you used to do, Dusty, with your clients at shows?
Oh,
so I'm thinking of shows that you attend.
Yes.
Shows that you attend where let's say you got 3 clients in a show. Did you used to do things differently than you do now as far as like how you manage the day yourself?
Oh, man.
You're just way more calm about everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think now it's just, I think the main thing that I've worked on over the last few years, which is not just the day of the show, but always, is making sure to tell people when things are going very well. I tend to only make adjustments or say anything when things need to be adjusted. So in my brain, the fact that I don't say anything means we're where we need to be. I've really worked on entire preps when I'm happy, pointing it out, being like, we're in a good spot, you know? And that definitely happens towards the end of the show. And I think usually what that makes sure of, I haven't had a worried competitor like the day of the show in years, because now they're understanding where we are. And by then it's relaxing. You know, I think you forget that not everyone sees the world through your lens. So I was never stressed at shows. I had a hard time staying awake, even backstage, because it was just, you know, you're kind of done and over, and you know you've put everything into the show. And I forget some people really need that reminder, and you know, the entire way. But that's really it. I mean, the only other alteration is I did start making people. So a lot of times in the States, people can kind of stay where they want. I have them all come to the same hotel no matter where they want to go.
Yeah.
They go to my hotel.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's too much of a hassle. They're going to come see you. They're staying at home. They're going to drive in, and there's traffic. It's a shit show. I'm like, no, I need you in room 226. That's your spot, you know? So that's it. I mean, just basic things to make it stress-free is the only thing that I've really adjusted.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Well, I see all these trainers at the shows. I'm not gonna bag on trainers, by the way. That's not what this is. That's not where this is headed. That's next week.
Yeah.
No, but I see all these trainers at the shows, and they're all at various stages in their training, you know, careers and businesses. Yeah. And I can see myself in some of them with some of the things they've done. And so sometimes trainers do things that kind of annoy me, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I did that in like 2002, 2003. I was doing that too. And I'm talking about like, I really think that it's important to keep the athlete very calm and not micromanage them. And I still see the odd trainer that's like checking on someone's condition every 10 minutes.
Like it's going to change.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like, you really, really, really care, and you really, really want to nail it. But I've just learned over the years that, like, there's a certain time frame that matters and a certain time frame that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And there's certain things that are going to get a little bit of a change in a short period, and there's other things that are futile. They're not going to make a difference until, like, tomorrow or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I see, and so I think, oh yeah, well, you know, that guy's at that stage where he's still doing this or still doing that. But I just find it interesting. I run around a lot less than I used to. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, and another thing too, I know a lot of coaches like there's lots of coaches that do this. Like at every single show, it's like almost all coaches. So it's all coaches fit into this category. But I see, you know, you kind of run from your seat and then you run backstage and check on somebody and then you go back to your seat. Try not to disturb the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've had a couple situations where like, you know, I went back to my seat and I'm like, oh fuck, the row filled up. So you got, oh fuck, sorry guys. And you go in and you sit in your seat, you know, so, but then I will correct. I'll be like, okay, well this row filled up. So I don't want to get up 20 more fucking times. So I'm going to go grab that seat in the corner, even though it's not as good. I just try, I don't know. And that doesn't just go for coaches. That goes for everyone. There's people getting up and running around, right? I got to take so-and-so as fucking this. And I got to go run to my car and eat. I got to come back and I got to go, like, there's, you know, shows are very in and out. That's just the culture of the show. But just like really try not to, you know, block people and, you know, interfere with stuff, and don't get up while people are doing posing routines. And I don't know, just a little bit of that sort of show etiquette, I think, is important. And, you know, I don't know, lots of observations, but yeah, I think the micromanaging is something I don't do as much of now. Like, you know, you look really good. You're pumped. I'm going to go to my seat. Good luck out there.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of that is for the competitor's brain more than anything. I mean, for example, Chris has never walked backstage with me ever.
He comes back Chris comes back at the night show.
Yeah.
I remember Chris used to.
You have to tell him what happened sometimes.
Yeah. I remember a couple times at Nationals when he was up there helping me. Like he would just wander backstage like right before I was about to go on. He just casually show. I'd be like backstage with a band, like doing curls, and I'd look over and he'd be standing there and be like, yeah, hit back double. And I'd hit it and be okay. And he'd walk away. He did that once at Nationals. It was like funny. That was it. Yeah. He just like came back.
I think that's, I mean, for the younger coaches, I think a lot of it is, and I know I was doing the same. It was making sure people knew who your people were when you were backstage. It was, you know, there's definitely that piece of it as well, because, and I don't think it's a bad strategy. When your people are good, other competitors look and they go, oh, that guy helped him. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good, you're not even speaking, but you're saying a lot, you know, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But as you've been doing it longer, I actually haven't been backstage at a show in a long time, because by the time I send them off, we're done. Eat
Right.
this meal.
It also,
I mean,
it also
we're
depends
done.
on the venue. You know, when you're familiar with all the local venues, and
Right.
there's certain venues that are like really easy to run backstage.
Yeah.
So I'll go backstage like 20 times, you know. But then there's other places where they have the odd show where you're like, fuck, you're on your own. See ya.
I'm not climbing that ladder again.
Yeah, or you got to go outside to go all the way around.
Right.
To go in the back door. Yeah, it's like I'm in my seat, man. Just good luck with your routine.
You know what I noticed that was different in England? Because when I was over there for the Fit Expo, they had a contest too. It was a long show too. Like they had every division, including like people with disabilities. There was this girl in like a bikini division that only had one leg. She was freaking awesome. Like there was so many people though, and masters and and everything else. And I was backstage and shooting some video and pictures, and just kind of watching how what everybody was doing. Over there were a lot more people with their coaches doing the old school thing instead of using a band where they would hold a towel. Where like you have somebody like pumping up with a towel and you're giving them resistance and they're telling you to like do 5 more. It was interesting because there was like a dozen people that I saw doing that. I never see that around here. Everybody always has bands, at least the shows that I go to. But there was like a lot of, and I don't know if maybe that's a move because as a coach, you're kind of dependent on me now to pump you up versus, because I think there's, I don't know, but whatever the case though, I saw that far more than I have ever seen it anywhere in the U.S.
Really?
Were you shocked at the condition of the athletes at a local show there? I'm always blown away. Like, dudes are fucking peeled at those shows.
Yeah, there were some guys in really good shape, and it just overall, there was a love of the sport, which was really cool to see. We've had Josh Malley on the show. Josh was back there. He had several clients there, so he was backstage. You could tell who Josh was because he was the guy who was like 1.5 feet taller than anybody else, backstage. You could see him at any point.
Yeah. He's also the guy holding an axe and is a Viking.
Yeah.
When I met Josh, he was actually standing next to a Viking boat.
You're kidding me.
No, it was at Body Power in England.
Okay.
It was like a clothing line. There was a clothing, I don't know what they were called. They had some Viking Norseman's genre branding.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so everyone at the booth looked like Vikings, and they were all dressed like Vikings, And that's where I met Josh. He's like standing there, like, he had the t-shirt on, and they had a Viking ship in the booth.
Oh my God.
It was just so funny. So that's how I know him. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Big fucking beard on him.
Do we have a couple of the YouTube questions for this episode before we
I
run
actually
all of our time because we're cranking.
I had a question I personally wanted to ask you guys. So we were at the mall the other week, and we went into Spencer's, and I saw the wall of t-shirts, and I asked myself, I was like, which t-shirt would Ron and Dusty pick out of these? So I took a picture of them. I'm gonna bring them to you today. Here's our selection. So at the bottom here we have Big Dick is back in town. Shit happens when you party naked. I like older women, and legalize eating ass. Actually, I think there's one more down below. Let's fuck. So you guys, I thought we could. I wanted to. It was important that I found this out. I couldn't take any other YouTube questions until we got this one out of the way. They're all good, but which shirt would you guys pick?
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, I have been top left my entire life. I like older women. It's just been a way I live. I might have dated a girl in high school just to hit on her mother. I mean, you never knew what I was there for.
Yes. I'm also a fan of that shirt. That's a good one. But I also think the legalize eating ass is pretty funny. Yeah, I might even wear that once.
I just noticed there's that sign that says buy 4 get 1 free. So you could literally have all 5 of them for the price of 4. But
buy 4 get 1 free.
They're like, you can have all 5 of these. That's how this works. It's very simple.
Yeah. You're leaving
that was great.
Okay, so
I like you.
The fact that see the best part is that you saw those shirts and you were reminded of us.
Yes,
That's how classy we are.
Warped shirts. We immediately. So the other day, you guys will love this. The girls come home from Target, and they're like, "Oh, they always show their haul of all the shit they bought." And I didn't have it in me to say it, but all of a sudden I see a shirt pulled out. I got this Greenday shirt. It's the cover of an album, and I'm like, I had that shirt. That exact shirt.
Oh, God. That's so funny.
I just made me laugh. And what made me laugh more is I'm like, I know you don't actually know any of those songs.
Right.
But
Name 3 songs. Name 3 songs.
I saw
Can't say
take that shit back.
Longview or When I Come Around.
I paid $8 for a ticket to see Green Day. That's how long ago I saw Green Day. Literally $8.
Amazing. Where was it? Was it a small venue or?
I can't remember. It was in Detroit.
Yeah.
It wasn't that small, but I mean, still, it was $8.
What year? Give me the year.
It would have been. It would have been for the Dookie album. It would have been
93.
Yeah, somewhere right around there.
94.
Okay.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
fuck, really?
Yeah.
So I saw Green Day a few times. They were fantastic. They put on a great show. They're really, really good musicians, like playing together as a band. Like I've seen everybody live, and some bands aren't that great live.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Green Day is tight as fuck. Like, you know, they got that punk that you know, they got to start and stop on the fucking, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got to be tight to play punk like that, especially their old shit, you know? And Mike Dirnt is one of the best bass players in rock and roll. He's unbelievable. And their drummer Trey is a fucking nut house. And I just think they're a great band. My one regret is that in 1996, 95, their second album, Insomniac, came out, which I fucking loved. It's my favorite album of theirs. Mm-hmm. And they toured Australia, and I had tickets to go. And I didn't make it because I got food poisoning that day. And I was laying in my bedroom in like 100-degree heat with a fan on me, vomiting my guts out in a fucking garbage can. It was the worst. And the concert was going on without me. And I always regretted missing that show.
Well, it's not like it was a choice you made.
Surprised they didn't just stop the show and do it the next day for you.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to tell them afterwards they have to redo that concert for me, you know?
I mean, who else after all these years? This is the thing. I don't know if anyone else listening to this does this, but I'm always amazed that when we bring up any random topic, Ron knows their names.
Yeah.
Still. Like, he's like, oh, and then this guy and his wife, Samantha, sweetheart. I'm like,
no, I know my band. I know my bands. I know my bands.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I have a friend that I met actually at the cigar bar, Rob. And Rob and
Dusty,
Ron,
look, wait, hold on. Dusty's
have
making
their
new
own
friends.
Yeah,
Something
I had to
doesn't sound
cut
right
somebody.
about that.
It was tough. I had to let someone go when I brought Rob in.
Yeah, there's
You
only
guys are
room
both
for
still
3.
here, so we're good. But anyways, this guy, I want to sit Ron and Rob down in Wallway. I have no idea what will happen, but you guys are like the same person. The amount, like he'll bring something up, and I'm like, why do you know that? I know a guy who also knows that. I'm sure of it. Yeah, you two together would be the greatest podcast. Scott and I would be done. We're just out. It's over.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah,
well, maybe one day you can take
right.
me to your cigar bar, buddy. You know what I mean?
We're going to, because my house is quickly building. So you're about to. I came back. I have drywall completely up. I have a driveway. It's a house with rooms now. It's
Nice.
fascinating. So yeah, your room will be ready very soon, sir.
Here's a question for you.
Oh boy.
Here's a question for you. I noticed something at the show this weekend. I don't care, but I just noticed it, and it was just interesting. I was like, oh. And the reason I guess I noticed it, I don't really go anywhere else, right? I go to the gym, and I don't go anywhere else. So I went to. So this was like my first event in a while. You know, yeah, I go to restaurants. So this is my first event in a while, and I noticed there were a lot of people that were vaping backstage.
Oh yeah.
Like
I saw that
yeah,
too.
like they're sitting
in England,
like they're laying on the floor with their feet up, and they just pull out their vape and I'm some of them, you know, those like, you know, the ones that are like nicotine vapes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you tell someone's like quit smoking, but they're still like nicotine vaping. So there, a lot of them were like that. They're like the big ones, look like a lightsaber. and then there were some people that just had like skinny little pens. So, you know, they're smoking weed pens, right?
Yeah.
That's how I think anyways. If it's a skinny little pen, I assume it's weed. And if it's a big one, I assume it's nicotine, but whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Not the point. Point is, I'll pull them out and take a big puff and then just like blow a cloud in the air. And go back to sleep.
I saw that in England too. It was crazy.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny because I was like, oh, are we doing that now?
I just want to be back there when Ron just pulls out a pre-roll. He's like, well, if we're doing that, we're doing this.
Well, we're doing that, we're doing this. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I miss the memo that was like, I don't know.
First time I had
What do
seen
you guys
that,
think?
First time I had seen that was a while ago, like 2018 Chicago Pro with my client. I won't mention his name. Pro debut. We will say that people can figure it out. Probably
First and last name. Yep.
We're walking down the hallway like to the venue, and he just pulls it out, takes a puff. I was like, I just look at him. He's like, yeah, there's no one around. He's like, I saw Mel Chanty doing it yesterday. I was like, oh, okay.
Mel Chanty.
That's what makes it okay. Totally be fine. I saw Mel doing it. That's what made it excusable. Well, no, I have no problem with the weed pens, but I think that vaping, regular vaping, to me, it's just ghetto as fuck. I said that on my post the other day. I had a client's wife literally messaged me, and she was like, hey, I vape. It got me to stop smoking cigarettes. I go, cool. What's going to make you stop vaping? Maybe my post saying it's ghetto as fuck. Just a thought. I don't know. I see.
Okay. See, I'm happy they're not smoking anymore. I am happy they're not smoking anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking good that you at least quit that, because that's really fucking brutal. I can't imagine smoking cigarettes now. That's one thing I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, I don't either.
I get
better.
being addicted to cigarettes in the 90s and the 80s because you got influenced by your fucking mums and dads. I mean, my mom's fucking smoked the shit out of us.
Me and all my friends smoked in like early 90s.
Yeah,
it was just like what you did.
But like, know? So I saw some kids, like, you know, teenagers the other day smoking cigarettes. And I was like, what the fuck went wrong? Like, how can you be smoking cigarettes? First of all, we know now that they fucking kill you. And we have an alternative that doesn't fucking kill you.
We knew in the 90s too, though. But remember, it was like Gen X. We just didn't fucking care.
Yeah,
we like
it was
wanted
too much influence. It was still cool in a way. All our favorite, you know, fucking Eddie Van Halen had one sticking out the top of his top string of his guitar while he was ripping his solo.
Slash between the hair.
Slash has, you know, drummers have the cigarette hanging out of their mouth while they're fucking, you know, like it was still cool.
I want to know what those kids are doing for a living that they can afford them.
Yeah, I can afford that, right? Well,
I mean, that's my biggest question. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're trading. You're obviously not trading stocks because that wouldn't afford it.
Yeah. No, it's just I don't understand smoking cigarettes now because we know and we have an alternative. If you've got a nicotine addiction, which is like one of the worst addictions you can have for how hard it is to quit, I get that. But we got an alternative now. So like, I don't know. When I see someone vaping, I always think good for them. Fucking good for them. They're halfway. Well, way over halfway. They're like 90%, 95, 90, 98% of the way away from.
Look at Ron assuming that they were doing worse. I assume the opposite because I'm a prick. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that? You're too young to be addicted to something else. So just knock that shit off. Smoke weed.
Well, I do. I do also like, so anyone who starts vaping nicotine. Like I'm sure there's people out there that never actually smoked cigarettes. They just went straight to nicotine vapes.
Yeah, of course.
And that, I'm just like, that's kind of interesting. New generation that never smoked, but there's smokers.
Like, I've heard it that at the high schools, they've had issues because the disposable cigarette vape pens, the nicotine ones, they're clogging up the toilets. Because they got the disposable ones, the kids can. Because think about it, when I was in high school, we used to smoke, but we'd have to like go outside, go out behind the greenhouse, take a few puffs, and then run back inside, try to like wash your hands and all that, so that like the teachers didn't find out. You could vape literally, like we're just talking about. People are vaping backstage, nobody knows. So these kids are vaping in the high schools, and then just disposing, literally clogging toilets across the country right now.
The same thing is happening with the weed pens. Like, you know, just imagine if you were like doing something somewhere and you wanted to run out and smoke a joint, you'd have to like sneak out, find a spot, be real fast.
Still stink the place up.
And the smell.
Give me gum. You gotta have gum. You gotta have some cologne or gum.
And none of it works.
Something to cover it up. And you got to do something, right?
Now you smell like cologne with weed.
Yeah. And then you got to do like the long way around to come back in so you can air out a little bit extra. And then, you know, you kind of stay away from people when you first go back in. You go grab a drink and stand in the corner, you know, like how we used to do it. And nowadays you just go to the bathroom and just take 10 hauls off a pen and just walk back into the event, just like no space at all. Like you see people just hauling on pens and then just going right into shit. Like it's funny. I just think, oh man, you know.
I don't think they're as good though. Don't you think it's weaker in comparison? I mean,
the pen is not, as Justin Shire told me, that is not a serious smoking device.
I agree. Like I'm not trying. Like when they're like, "Would you want a pen?" I'm like, no, I'm an adult. I smoke where I want to. Fuck off.
But I did have a weed pen that someone gave me. They were like, this cartridge is super strong. And I was like, oh yeah. And I tried it and I was like, holy fuck, that was I had this one. I don't know what it was, but someone gave me a cartridge that was nuts. So they're out there.
Get those, people. You know. Get those. Sorry.
Okay. We got some YouTube questions.
We have like.
I want one though. I got a great one. I have a great one for you guys.
We're an hour in. We haven't even started YouTube yet.
I want Scott to start this one.
Oh shit!
And I stole this off of someone else's question box because I thought it was great. It says, "I'm a nerd. What's your favorite technology advancement? Bluetooth, tape to CD, streaming, phones. What's your favorite technology change?"
Man, you know what I'll tell you is what I use every day, and the people who like PCs are not going to be happy about this. I love the technology of being able to work all your Mac stuff together because we're recording this right now on my Mac desktop. I've got my Mac laptop. I've got my phone. I could take, you know what, that picture I just put up, I was like, oh shit, I want to ask the guys, what do? I airdrop it to my computer. I pull it on the screen. Like everything works together. And that used to be so difficult. Like, okay, I have this, 10 gigabyte video on this camera. How do I move that shit? It's like, oh, I put it here. Now it's here, here, and here. It's like I love how simple it makes everything. So there's that. That'd be my quick answer.
That's a good one.
I was just thinking of this the other day. I was watching a Bill Burr bit where he was talking about Steve Jobs, and he's like, everyone says Steve Jobs is such a great man. He didn't really do any of that shit. He just walked into a room and said, hey, I want all my records on this.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
He didn't actually fucking do it himself.
Yeah,
he didn't sit down and write the code like, oh, I'm going to put all my records on my phone. He just told a bunch of people that are panicking to keep their jobs, hey, fucking keep it on, put it on this. And so, but that to me is it's unbelievable that I have all of my music from my entire life. Every song that I could possibly want to listen to.
Yeah.
Like the number of times, like I'm such a music guy. Like I'll just be sitting, we'll watch an episode of a show and there'll be like 5 seconds of an old song in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy fuck, I haven't heard that song in a while. So I'll fucking pull it up on my phone, and then I'll just, you know, keep it there on my phone. And then after the episode's over, I'll play it. I'm like, oh, fuck, I want to play this song.
Yeah.
And then I'll add it to my playlist. I'll throw it on one of my playlists. And I can't believe the access to music and the fact that every CD I ever lost doesn't matter now.
Scratched.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter now, you know?
Yeah.
I had like tapes that I lost, and I was like, oh, I lost that tape. Fuck, you know? And it's just like so funny to me. And so that to me is just incredible. And then I can Bluetooth it to my fucking car.
Yep.
Like, I don't need to have the disc in the, like, just the whole thing of physical played music. It's unbelievable. And I can be driving down the highway in the middle of nowhere and pull up a song that I don't already have on my phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like it's not stored on my phone. I'll just pull up anything I want, Bluetooth it. Crazy.
Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's, I was going to say my more specific thing that I enjoy with the music is I love on Spotify that I can queue everything. So like when I go places, I know how long it takes to get somewhere. I queue 6 songs before I leave the driveway.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, this will get me there. Should be right around 5.5 songs. Then I'll sit in the parking lot and wait for the last one to finish. Okay, that'll be perfect. Like literally, that's my life. I will get in the car. That's the first thing I do. Where am I going? Queue them up. Okay, now I can put my phone down like I'm supposed to and roll. And then I also love that because Apple really has taken over the world. I've got my car has Apple, so you shoot me a text and it pops up. I touch the screen. Ron said, and it reads it to me, and then immediately, of course, would you like to reply? Yes. Sarcastic reply. That bitch gets it right, fires it back to Ron. We're in business. So yeah, I love all that shit. You know, I had to teach my mom a bunch of it. I gave her AirPods, and I just gave them to her, and I was like, "Here you go." And she's like, "Oh, these are great." And then the other day, I'm like, "So, Mom, are you listening to AirPods a lot?" "No, they're dead." I'm like,
she used them up.
"You didn't charge them?" She goes, "I don't know how." I'm like, "It's the same plug that's on your phone." "Oh, okay." That's like, oh shit, this is okay. We got to start from the bottom. And I gave her an Apple Watch today, so that one's going to be a train wreck. But oh well.
Yeah, there's a lot to absorb there. You know,
I'm trying to give it a piece at a time, but I thought that the plug-in was going to take care of itself. I didn't think of that.
I also wanted to mention something that I'm fucking loving, and just in case there's a listener out there that is like, oh, I didn't know about that or whatever. But if you go on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, you can quite often pull up one of your favorite albums. Okay, so I'm just going to use this as an example. So you go and you pull up, I pull up Nirvana's first album, Bleach.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I
want to listen to Bleach. I want to listen to their first album. So now when you pull it up, there's Bleach or there's Bleach Deluxe Edition. And all it is the album. Let me just get the camera here. So you get the album, right? And they've got, the album. And then they've tacked on a live concert live from the Pine Street Theater.
Nice.
In 1990 from the Bleach tour before they were famous, right? And they've tacked on this remastered soundboard concert that no one's ever heard before.
Yeah.
From a little tiny hotel bar in Portland, Oregon, before they're famous.
You could still get that when we were younger, but you had to go to the right record store.
Yes.
You had to get a bootleg or some type of UK import.
And it sounded like shit half
and there was
the time.
Only like a few available out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now they're remastering these old soundboard recordings. They're making sure their fuzz is taken out and they're made to sound as if you're sitting right there listening to the band.
Crazy how good it is.
And they've done this with a whole bunch of albums. So you pull up Master of Puppets, Metallica Master of Puppets. There's a deluxe edition now, and there's like 40 extra tracks added. And it's like there's like 15 songs from a live concert from the tour in 1985 from a soundboard recording that's really good enough quality that they can release it. And then there'll be like some demos and unreleased tracks and the songs that didn't make the album that no one's ever heard or whatever, or only the really crazy fans that had like the bootlegs and stuff have ever heard. and maybe they weren't remastered, so they didn't sound great, right? But now they're remastered and they're on like, you know, digital quality. So there's you know, I complain that there's not a lot of new music I like, but now I don't have to ever listen to anything new again. I can just re-listen to all my favorite old albums with all the bonus material tacked onto the end, and I could just live my life in my little circle over and over and over. So
this is the beginning of how men eventually buy New Balances that they wear every day.
Started out excited about that bit, and I wound up sad.
Oh God, that's great. Speaking of, I have to send something to Scott real quick. If you could pull this up on the screen for us, Scott, because I found a way that you and I can meet in the middle.
Okay,
on a tough subject.
And
I got a screenshot.
I think I know where you're going here. Yeah, text it to me.
Yeah,
and then I can pull that up because my text also comes up on the Mac. So there's that.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yes.
There we go. Scott and I meeting in the middle right here, right now.
All right. Let's see here.
On a tough subject.
Oh my gosh. What do you think, Ron? What do you think of that?
Those are called, what do you call
Croots.
Cowboy. Croc boy boots.
Croc boots. They're Croots.
So here's what I want to know. Does the top part come off? Can you just turn them into an ankle height shoe?
It kind of looks like they may be detachable, huh?
And like detachable.
I'm hoping to God this is just a joke and that those don't exist, but oh yeah, Nikki sent me those this morning. I lost it.
I do want to say a special thank you and a shout out to literally about 100 people now who have sent me various different Croc memes. I have gotten so many Croc memes. People telling me, show this one to Dusty, or, you know, show this to the guys, or you need to get these, or here's an attachment for your Crocs. It's been quite entertaining. Literally like 100. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating.
That's pretty funny.
I believe
those are terrible. Those are fucking terrible, dude. Terrible.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. We've derailed this episode terribly. Sorry.
It's all right. It's good.
Again.
It's good. Do we even have time for YouTube questions at this point? We literally have like a whole show worth of YouTube questions ahead of us.
Let's next episode that one.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, we can do that. We can next episode that one. You know, so we'll call this. So we just teased them the entire episode that we were going to get to YouTube questions, and then
this was season 4 of Yellowstone, right?
Of Yellowstone. It didn't really go anywhere.
I haven't seen it because of you guys. I know.
We just talked about
call this season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good to go. Episode 152. Thanks, everybody. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Remember, it's just bodybuilding.